Hello there, and welcome to Leadership and Neurodiversity. This is the March 17th, 2025 edition, and there are several things on today's agenda that I want to discuss. First, I want to talk about some ideas that I'm going to be doing for fundraising that's also going to turn into a side hustle. There's going to be a separate part that's a side hustle. Second thing I want to talk about is this is the beginning of Neurodiversity Celebration Week in the United States, given the current political climate. The question is, what's there to celebrate? Well, it might give you some answers. I actually have thought about that. And then I want to talk about the upcoming schedule for the videos. I'm going to be doing two videos in the next 2 weeks, and I'll be discussing a bit further down the line. Anyway, let's get started with the first item, which is fundraising for leadership and neurodiversity. As you know, I'm going to be working with um, people in another country, probably the United Kingdom. I would like to travel at least once to the United Kingdom. That doesn't have to happen until 2026, but as you may have seen on LinkedIn, I have some potential items that I may be using for fundraising. Only, I'm not going to charge a ton of money for a pen or anything like that. But there are some ideas. There are other ideas that are coming in, and I'm going to go through them and I'll show them off and let you guys decide what works for you. On a related note, I'm going to be doing side hustle, which is going to be selling items on eBay of other non-leadership and neurodiversity related stuff, and ideas and creations I have, and I think it's going to work very well. And I also have some stuff that's been sitting in a closet for a while, and I think and that'll help raise funds too, for myself. And it's a good side hustle. I think it'll work out nicely, and I think this is going to be a good thing. And so stay tuned. The fundraising isn't going to start until later this year. The side hustle is going to start this week. As a matter of fact, I'm going to discuss it, and obviously I won't discuss it on LinkedIn. If you in my if you see my ID on eBay W Hughes 1, you'll see what's going on there. Anyway, let's talk about the next item, which is Neurodiversity Celebration Week. This is a thing that's supposed to celebrate neurodiversity, and I was originally going to go in this with a very negative tone, but you know what? When I see things like people like Nathan Chung and going out there advocating for neurodivergent people and starting a podcast with Larissa Menner, Disability Disrupted, that's great. I think that's a great thing. I think when I see people doing their own thing, advocating by running their own business, I think that's great. Linda Gilbreth is another example of that in the United States. I think people who go out there and work for a living are, if you are aware of your condition and you advocate for it, that's great. If you don't, that's great too. I mean, I respect it either way. The big thing I've noticed, even especially Sterna, is changing their tune a little bit, but I think that what they're doing is a really good thing. They're starting an academy for IT support, and it's a 2-year contract with IBM and another organization, and it's going to be 2 months of learning how to become an IT support person, a whole bunch of networking things, and it's going beyond the A+ certification. It's going to be more networking as well. And you have to be in New York. You have to live in New York. You have to be willing to work in New York City. You have to be 18. You have to have a high school diploma, and you have to be neurodivergent. And I think, if this is the route they're going to go down, and I will fully support it. I think this is brilliant. I think this is a great concept. I can't believe that it took them this long. And the good thing is they don't say anything about guaranteed jobs or anything, because that avoids any political issues, anything like the anti-DEI or anti-woke or anti-neurodivergent or whatever. I think this is going to be a really, really, really good thing, and I fully support it. Now, I also wanted to mention, when you hear when you see, I want to continue to go back to people that I know, Nancy Romanishin and her son. Her son's autistic, nonverbal or almost nonverbal, and good cook by all accounts. And I hear his twin sister, is going to do a senior thesis about communicating with him, and I think brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I love it. Great stuff for that. I fully support that. And I gotta tell you, I have a cousin who has a son who's profoundly autistic, and I know that I have a cousin whose daughter has a son, so it's basically third cousin who has a son. So basically, it's my cousin's daughter's son, so third cousin who's profoundly autistic. And I'll tell you what, um, I know that in the case of my cousin's son, the first one I mentioned, he's now like in his 20s. I think he's in his 20s. I don't think they're doing the best they can. But the good thing is that there's more resources available than there were in the 80s and 90s and or 70s, 80s and 90s. And I think this is going to help out a lot. I think this is going to be a big. I think people are willing to fight like hell for these resources. And here's the thing, folks. Don't let anybody or any organization speak for you. You can speak for yourself, whether it's verbally, non-verbally. I've learned, you. I've learned nonverbal people can speak volumes without saying a word, and I I don't believe in having anybody. Don't let anybody else speak for you. I think that's an important thing to be aware of in this society, in this world. Um, support, I say fully support neurodivergent people who are working if they're self-employed. Support autistic people who are self-employed. I think I think that's going to become more common because, quite frankly, the political climate in the United States is going to change it so you can be more hostile towards neurodivergent employees. I think, and the unemployment rate's very high right now. It's some people say 85% for autistic people in the United States. I think we need to find a way to get more people employed. And I think especially Stern is going to do a good job with this academy. I'd like to see other opportunities like that pop up where people learn skills that they can bring into competitive employment, or alternatively, have self-employment as an option. And I think there's some very good. I think that's going to be either way is a great option as long as you're able to sustain a livelihood, you're able to do things. I think that's all good. Now let's talk about future videos. I have two videos coming up in the next 2 weeks. First one's next Monday. I think it's going to be for Monday or Tuesday. It's going to be for a class that I'm doing that I'm currently in. It's basically it's gonna and I'm gonna set I'll set it up. I'll set up the question. Based on a question that you would ask future leaders. It's gonna be interesting. I almost forgot. I'm sorry. Before I go back, let me go back. Neurodiversity celebration. Let me go back to that for a second. I apologize. Um, there is even people advocating for neurodivergent leaders and autistic leaders, and Lumila Prazilov, Dr. Lumila Prazilov is a great example of that, and um, Laurie Becca Hester. Those are great people. The only thing is, given the current climate, political climate, I don't know if that's feasible in the United States. I hope I'm wrong. I really am, but I hope I'm wrong. I think there are ways around that. I think I think that may come down to becoming self leaders, self, and I'm learning about a new thing called self leadership, which is basically you run your own show because you basically show that you can run the show by running your own show. If that's the route that's going to become popular. If I find that that's a possible concept, I think it falls well within the armor concept. I think it falls well within um, leadership and neurodiversity. I think it will follow my theories very well. Now, getting back to my videos, I apologize. I had forgotten to mention people, and I think it's important to mention as many people as possible in this Neurodiversity Celebration Week, and I'm keeping it within the United States. I want to mention again. I have two videos coming out in the next 2 weeks. I have a class assignment next week. It's really good. It's a fun little assignment. It's going to be. I'll include it in this series because I think it's going to work very well. The second one, of course, is Autism Appreciation Day or Autism Acceptance Day, April 2nd. We no longer use Autism Awareness Day, by the way. I don't think that's acceptable anymore, and I'm not going to use it. I think acceptance and appreciation are the best ways to go. That's just my opinion. Feel free to disagree with me. There's going to be another video at the end of April, which is going to be tied into the immersion weekend at Indiana Tech. Um, Probably going to be talking about winding up my current class, getting ready for what's going to be an easy summer for me because I only have one class, and that's in the second half of this summer term before I wrap up the classroom portion. We'll go to May, and there's no summer hiatus anymore, folks. So we're just going to be June is Autism Pride Day, June 18th. I'm going to do one. I'm going to hopefully. I'm planning on doing one in July and August. Don't worry, I'm not going to be doing in this location. This location gets too warm. I've already scouted out other options. We're going to go with those. So I got a lot in a short period of time. I know. I apologize for my voice. I have not felt well in about 4 weeks, and my voice has been a little scratchy. So I don't. It's an ongoing thing. It's going to continue for a little bit, but I felt the need to get this video out tonight. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next video. Comment, subscribe, like. Um, I appreciate all of it. And by the way, feel free to disagree with anything I say. That's fine. The beauty of this world is that not everybody has the same opinion. I fully accept that. So anyway, next video is next week. I hope to see you all then.